Hey, this is Ponce making another recording here. I'm going to be making a series of videos here based on basically my 5 principles that I feel are the fastest way or the best ways to sort of improve your game and hopefully start getting higher ELO as you get better at them. It all originates from basically a lot of questions I get in the YouTube comments. In particular, I used to get actually this question a lot, is like, why do you click so much and why do you click all over the screen? This is back when you could hear my clicking a lot more because I had different sound. I was on a different computer actually. So this led me to thinking, and then this basically led to me coming up with, well, basically it's a basic lane mechanics kind of thing, but then that fed into a whole bunch of other things. So basically these 5 principles I came up with to sort of improving your game were basically 1, lane mechanics. That's very obvious. That's the one I'll be focusing on this game. It's the most basic one, so you may want to move on to the next one if you feel you're good with your lane mechanics. 2 is lane decision making, which ties in very closely with lane mechanics, and they're almost inseparable, so it's hard to separate these two, but I'll try not to talk about this one too much, even though I'm going to want to. 3rd is sort of your basic kind of tactical sense, sort of your overview of what needs to get done on the map. This bleeds more into sort of the team fight phase and when you start getting out of the laning phase, although it's important in laning phase as well, sometimes. There's a team fight mechanics, which are very different from laning mechanics. It's a completely different set of skills, so that's something else you need to work with. And 5 is sort of the most kind of, I guess, theoretical and kind of almost philosophical, I guess, and it's more about people managing skills, and it's more about your ability to deal with people. And I'll get to that one last because it's probably the most difficult for some people. But yeah, odds are I'm going to skip out a chunk of video here, so you're going to see me jumping into when I start talking about relevant points in either this game or different games. So, yeah. So basically what I mean by lane, or rather what I want to focus on in terms of lane mechanics, it's obviously a very expansive topic as I was saying earlier, but one of the things, most fundamental things about lane mechanics I find is understanding what I like to call the your character's zone of threat. So basically in the case of Rumble, his zone of threat encompasses the entire range of his Electro Harpoon, and to slightly lesser extent the distance he can cover and then hit people with Electro Harpoon. So basically imagine a bubble surrounding your character, the distance of Electro Harpoon in the case of Rumble. It's sort of, I'd say, like a yellow circle or something, kind of indicating a mid-level threat that he presents with it. And then on top of that, he has another zone of threat with Flame Spitter, so right in front of him in that cone. And when the two stack, Electro Harpoon and Flame Spitter stack, you have quite a powerful zone of threat. And that's why movement, as I was saying earlier, continuously changes that zone of threat, and Zed always has to, the enemy Zed, has to continuously re-evaluate what I'm capable of in terms of, you know, can I kill him, can I not kill him. And then I said I wouldn't talk about this, but I'm going to a little bit. For example, lane decision making, that also comes into play, is like understanding his zone of threat and sort of how my movement interacts with his movement and like when I can go in, when I can't go in, that sort of thing. But basically, by understanding my zone of threat, whatever Zed decides to do here, the idea is to maximize the damage I can output on him and minimize the damage he outputs on me. And I'm going to ult here and just kind of make sure Cho'Gath gets away. So yeah, that's that. But yeah, that's another factor of zone of threat, is my ult. It's very long range. Rumble is kind of a unique character in that he's a very short range zone of threat most of the time, but he also has the potential of having a very high long range zone of threat. And Midlane's dying meantime, but I'm not going to be able to do anything about that, so I'm just going to go back. So once Zed gets back into lane, I'll try and demonstrate what I mean. In particular, Flamethrower is the more interesting interaction in zone of threat because it goes behind minions, and it's just kind of this AoE that he can't hide behind minions of. Harpoon, on the other hand, is more of kind of a straightforward skill shot zone of threat, so it's a bubble normally, but it's a malleable bubble. It's more like, imagine a balloon pressing up against these minions and it can't go past them because it's, you know, the zone of threat is obviously being cut off by the minions. So he is pushed up the tower, so I don't know if I can make anything happen, but we'll see. For example, my Flame Spitter is actually very good. I can go in and out. See, I poke him a couple times with the Flame Spitter. That's my zone of threat. Is quite good for harassing the tower because I can go in when the tower is shooting at me. I know when the tower has an attack cooldown, so I go in and poke him once or twice with the flamethrower. And it's not a lot of damage, but it starts to add up. You know, you'll see over time. It'll. You see, he gets away there. He knows, he understands my zone of threats. He's saying, okay, his flamethrower is going to damage me quite heavily, so I'm going to have to give up CS here and just back off. Yeah, see, he underestimated basically my burst potential. In the sense that he didn't factor in my ult, I suppose. Because basically, when he's really close to me, he's right out to me as Rumble, my zone of threat is absolutely massive. Like, basically that bubble I was talking about, the color-coded bubble, white being the weakest, red being the strongest, when all the things align, my Harpoon, my Flame Spitter, and my ult all at once, and sometimes your auto attacks if you're in the danger zone. If everything aligns, like in this very small area around Rumble, his damage potential becomes absolutely ludicrous. So, you know, if you understand that and know when you can go in, understand the enemy's cooldowns and your cooldowns, you can just sort of dump on him and come out successful, like I basically did here. So, thanks for watching part 1. I'll be coming up next with lane decision making. That'll be the next video I make. It'll come up soon, not immediately, but in the next few days hopefully I can get it up. This video in particular, I don't know, if you didn't find it particularly informative, I think it'll be really informative to sort of newer players who don't understand the mechanics of laning or the threat your character can potentially produce. So show your friends, you know, maybe it'll help them out. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you around.